Good night through Papua New Guinea. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, it has been a very long year and a very busy year for sports, and this is actually our second last episode for this season. So it was great to have your company. Thank you for staying with us all throughout. Now for this show, tonight's show, we have a number of sporting federations that will be coming on the show tonight and reviewing the year for, the sporting calendar and how it has turned out for them. Kila, how was your week?
It was a great week, topping off the weekend with the Great Britain Lions and Kumuls.
Absolutely.
Yes,
both teams, the men's and women's team.
How amazing was that?
Yeah, that was great. Both teams managed to pull off a win, so
True.
That celebrations are still going on, I hear.
I heard as well.
All right. So tonight on the show, apart from the EN reviews, we also have an update from the Palais. We also have a roundup of the Great Britain Lions tour. We have also volleyball, mixed netball, netball itself, and cricket PNG, along with basketball PNG, giving their EN reviews. And we have other stories apart from that, smaller stories on the show tonight. Kila, what's one that stood out for you this week?
Ooh, I like the year-in reviews that we have covered during the sessions for tonight. And excited for what's going to be happening next year going forward.
We begin with Rugby Union and the PNG women's 15s team. The Palais struggle with financial support has been cut back tremendously as ANZ comes on with a 3-year sponsorship. In the announcement last week, PNG Rugby Football Union interim president Ben Frame said this support is timely, especially when the team really needs it.
The announcement this week comes on the back of an independent screening process that led to his appointment.
On behalf of all our rugby league partners and stakeholders throughout the country, to introduce to you and present to Papua New Guinea the new coach of the SPPNG Hunters for the next SP Hunters for the next 2 years, Mr. Mathew Church.
Mathew Church was assistant coach for various clubs in the Queensland Inter-Super Cup prior to his appointment to the Hunters.
CV that he brings to him not only a wealth of footballing experience, but he brings to him is networking. The context is built that rugby league in PNG and the Hunters as a club and the players can tap into to not just grow the game in the country, but more so to assist the pathways that the Hunters program is actually set up for, to get our players moving into the elite program and provide that high-level elite program for domestic players to go through. So seeing Matt's credentials, we felt that he stood out head and shoulders above the rest of the applications.
The PNGRFL received 14 applications, 3 of which came from within PNG. The only applicant to come close is Lacenex Tigers coach Stanley Tepend.
I'm truly honoured to be taking over from Coach Michael Maram, who's done a fantastic job. My background, I'm from Brisbane, I'm a carpenter by trade. My footballing career at Queensland Cup level actually started on this ground in '97 against the Port Moresby Vipers, and ever since then I've had a bit of an affinity with the nation and the people of it. I've had a rich, as the chairman said, a rich background in coaching. I originally started coaching at East Tigers with their under-18s and their under-20s side. Moved on from there to work with the Melbourne Storm under-20s for 2 years. Was then head coach of their development squad for a year, and this year took up the role as assistant coach of the Sunshine Coast Falcons, who had a history-making season. Fantastic to be a part of. I've also been a part of the junior emerging origin programs for the Queensland Rugby League. I'd like to draw on all that education and development I've taken from that and bring that into the role with the Hunters.
Church will lead the PNG Premier team for 2 seasons beginning next year. The team under coach Michael Marum won the competition for the first time in 2017. The SP PNG Hunters 2019 season was below par compared to previous years. The incumbent Mathew believes he has big shoes to fill.
So I've got a number of coaches who are with NRL clubs, whether they're NRL head coaches or just in assistant roles. So looking to hopefully use those as a bit of an education tool for some of our staff, if I can get our staff to go over there. So I figure working in development, I'm really big on coach education. So if the more coaches I can get to, it means the more players we can get to. So I want to develop essentially a hunter's way, so that we have what we're looking for as a player, what stands out, highlighting that to our Digicel Cup coaches, and then hopefully they can look for those things or coach those things into their players. So it strengthens that next level coming through, so that it's a huge nation. So many people play rugby league. It's a conveyor belt waiting to go from there. So if we can get that right and have more PNG players playing in the NRL, it's going to be a flow-on effect from the Digicel Cup to the Hunters and then on to the Kumuls.
A 35-man train-on squad will be assembled for pre-season training next Monday.
Don't go away, stay with us. When we come back, we'll take a look at basketball year in review. Welcome back, you're watching Sports Scene. Tonight's show is all about reviewing the year 2019, and joining me in the studio tonight is Nick Dara, the President for Basketball Federation Papua New Guinea. Thank you, Nick, for joining us tonight in the show.
Thank you, Kila.
Now, let's talk about the highlights that have unfolded so far for 2019, especially for basketball in Papua New Guinea.
We just recently had that Pacific Games in Samoa. PNG took part in the both formats of basketball. The shorter version is the 3x3, where you have only 3 players aside, and they play half court. We also had the traditional 5x5 teams participating in Samoa, and for the placings, the men did well again. We lost out on the bronze, so we lost to Fiji this time. Fiji got relegated from their silver placing in the last Pacific game down. Guam held on to their first placing. So again, we just came very, very close to getting onto the podium. For the ladies team, unfortunately, we came below the 6th place mark. So we've got a lot of work yet to be done, not only for the ladies, but for the men and women. The other highlight for this year was when the under-17 team went in, I think, June to New Caledonia. And that was both boys and girls. Again, we need to work on developing and upskilling all our players and officials as well. So going forward, those are the key areas that we're looking at. But those were the 3 main highlights for this year.
So you mentioned development in the code. What are some measures that you're taking to approach that area of basketball?
Okay. Going right down to the grassroots level, we have the Hoops for Health activities that are going up. So what we've done now is we have been pushing these activities out to the rural sectors out of NCD or Port Moresby for that matter. So we've got Bougainville, Arab was the last group that we sent our staff across, and we'd like to take this time to also thank PNG Sports Foundation. We've been riding on their trips out to those places to roll out these activities. So Alatau's been covered. We've got Buka in Europe, that's been covered already. We've got Ley, Port Moresby, Gulf, Kerama especially. Those activities have now reached out to those areas. So Mount Hagen, Hela, and Southern Highlands in Mendi were also covered during the trip that was taken up there by PNG Olympic Committee under the sponsorship of ExxonMobil. So we'd like to acknowledge our partners in running out our programs. For the junior levels, like Port Moresby has a very good competition that's now being kick-started at Tarama Aquatic Center. So we're going right down to the under 12 as well. So 12, 14, 16, and I think they have maybe 22 or 21 under 21s and open divisions. We'd like to see the same happening. Layers also has a very good competition running. We'd like to see that spread going out to the other centers, maybe in the Highlands, the 4 regions of the country.
Now, as the development continues in reaching this younger generation of Papua New Guineans, what are some challenges that you faced this year in rolling out the programs? Okay,
we'd like to thank FIBA, the world body, for assisting financially. Unfortunately, we need to work on more sponsors domestically, so that they could assist us in rolling out these activities in centers that you wouldn't realize that we can take this to, and that would be, like again I said, rural areas like maybe Yonki, Ramu, Finchafen, places where Manus, for instance, they could be just playing only football and hockey over there, but we'd like to reach out to those centers as well. Yeah.
Now, what do we expect for 2020 going forward?
Okay, exciting time coming up for our activities, for the calendar that will be rolled out very shortly. We'd like to ensure that that calendar goes out just before the year ends. On the calendar that we have under 15 and under 17 championships, national championships, also open all-stars. Now, we are trying to slate that down for September during the Independence weekend, but we'll see how venues and things like the logistics work out. But otherwise, that's going to be on our calendar. We have the club championships. Now, this has been something that everybody's been asking for, and maybe going on the Facebook and all that, asking for club championships. Well, we're going to be running this with the help of the associations or the leagues that are out there, maybe Ley or maybe Mount Hagen or Goroka, because of their facilities at NSI. Otherwise, the key area to run all these type of tournaments that are sanctioned by Basketball Federation of Papua New Guinea in conjunction with FIBA, our international body, is to run those type of events in a area that's conducive to players and all that. And I think at this stage, Ley's Seignes's Kilage Stadium or complex would be the next one available apart from the Sejong Guys one and also the Tarama Aquatic Center that we have.
Thank you, Mr. Dara. Now, exciting stuff coming up in 2020 for Basketball Png. Is there anything else that you'd like to add on?
Yes. We also have a request that came from FIBA yesterday on email, and I sort of like held my breath back because we had already run this under 15 tournament. This is the FIBA Oceania tournament that was held here in Tarama end of 2018. And coincidentally, they've asked us, maybe because we're a very good host and we've got grand facilities in the Pacific, so they've asked us if we're interested to run it again. Again, of course, money will be the deciding factor for us, because when the last tournament was held here, all those 8 countries that came in, including PNG, were all accommodated at the Holiday Inn in those class rooms there. So maybe this time, if we don't have money, we might look at classrooms or something like what they treat us.
The prospect of hosting it is
it's high on the agenda, high on the agenda. So we're looking forward to that. But again, it's subject to the board, BFPNG board, to see if we are ready to do that again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dara, for joining us in the studio tonight.
Yeah, I have, Kila, sorry, before I go, I have other areas that I'd like to cover quickly. The Basketball Federation of PNG has been invited to also, we are now eligible to participate in the Asia Cup. That could be in maybe China, Japan, or Indonesia, I'm not sure. But the 3x3 shorter version, the teams have been invited to go and participate in that. And those are qualifying events for maybe the World Cup and the 3x3 division. Also, our number of associations are growing, Kila, which is very exciting to see. And we have new staff that will be coming on board. This time we'll have 3 staff. Let me make the announcement now that FIBA has, with BFPNG's blessing, put me up as the executive officer of Basketball Federation Papua New Guinea. Now that means to be transparent and uphold the integrity of the office that we will be running. I need to be resigning from the president of Papua New Guinea Basketball, which I've held for the last 7 years. And also I was recently put up as the one of the executive members for the FIBA Oceania board that was held in Australia a couple of months back. Unfortunately, I have to let that go as well because I need to run the executive officer role, and we will have 2 other staff for Hopes for Health and also our events and activities that we will be running. Those 2 officers will report to me, and then of course we report to the board. So that's something that will come out, and I'd like to invite the media, MTV, maybe the paper and radio as well. We will be sending out requests or invites for you, for your teams to come out, and maybe we'll cover that off properly. The last one that I'd like to say here, Kila, is during the FIBA World Congress in Beijing last August, Papua New Guinea was recognized for the first time in the International Basketball Federation Awards for one of the best Hopes for Health projects that we have been running, Twilight, Mamsa Hero, and all that have come in. I'd like to thank the people that are behind me, the volunteers, the coaches, and of course the participants. So Papua New Guinea came 3rd place out of 220 affiliates to FIBA World. We came 3rd behind Mexico and Botswana. So that's a great achievement for Basketball Federation PNG.
Great achievement. Congratulations for that achievement for this year, well, under your presidency. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio tonight.
Thank you, Kila, and thank you, MTV.
Now don't go away. Stay with us for more after these messages.
Welcome back. You're watching Sports Scene. To Rugby League now, and the PNGRFL Kumuls have created history by defeating Great Britain Lions on home soil, breaking a 29-year drought since PNG last beat the team from the United Kingdom.
It's been days since the Rugby League Test match was played at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. Yet the joy of success still lingers in the minds and hearts of the Rugby League mad country PNG. Fresh still in memory, the Lions were leading 10 points to nil when the ball was played on the shadows of half-time on the Kumuls side of halfway before this play happened.
This will be the last play. Ipape, short side, goes straight up the middle. Edwin Ipape, he scores! That's Edwin Ipape! Aston won't get there. Edwin Ipape, at the spot of half-time, goes over for the PNG.
Edwin Ipape's touch of individual brilliance not only helped the Kumuls bounce back from 10-0 down, but build momentum for the revolution that followed suit.
Takes on the ruck, he fends off the left, he puts a grabber kick through. Watson was, he's got it! And Watson was in the lane. Weber looking to grabber, comes off, and Roland will score.
Comeback second half and it was all Kumuls, dominating the ruck area with speed and shot kicks that went their way all evening.
They come out the back, they've got numbers here. Wants to kick, he kicks it again. This should be a try. Alex Johnston's in.
The Kumuls won 28-10.
Put it sky high in the Port Moresby night sky. And Lomax, he drops it. He's play on from here. Next to Port. Will put the touchdown. It is a try.
I think it's just a testament to the group. Coach Mike's has kept us together for a long period of time, and just our combinations just keep getting better and better each year that we're together. And you know, we showed a lot of heart against Fiji, and we were just unlucky. We just couldn't build pressure. But tonight, we just dug deep. We kept finishing in the corner and just kept building pressure. And you know, we were lucky on a few tries there, but that's what happens when you compete.
28 points. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know. Like I said, we were just outstanding tonight. Just all in the little areas, kick chase, the halves rolling the ball in goal, and then just making them defend in this weather. The heat here, it took a lot of energy out of them, so you can't go back to back defensively, and we just capitalised.
You know, full credit to PNG tonight. I thought we started the game well. We completed at half time about 90-odd%. PNG got a good try just before half time, and you know, that put a bit of wind in the sails. In the second half, they just started with more intensity. I think that's what it came down to. We didn't hold the ball well enough in the second half, and if you don't hold the ball, you don't win games. It's not rocket science, and something we've had a tough time of over these past 4 weeks, and that's taking no credit at all away from Papua New Guinea. I thought there was fantastic tonight.
There's great depth in the Great Britain Lions side, but it was extremely tough for you guys to lose a skipper, James Graham, early on.
Yeah, he's a massive part of our team. He's such a leader, not only on the field but and off the field in everything he does. So, it's a big loss to lose someone like that. But we still finished the half very well. For Luke Thompson, that came on for James, did a fantastic job in the first half and punched out some good minutes. So, there's no excuses why we didn't win that game. It's just it's not good enough from us.
The game has come and gone. The Great Britain Lions will remember their beating in Port Moresby by the Kumuls at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. But if there's one thing they won't forget, it's the experience of coming to PNG. The tales of their visit and their smiles that greet them along define a country that loves rugby league and calls it the national sport. Here are some of the highlights.
How has it been like?
It's been fantastic, honestly. It's been really welcoming, and it's nice to see how much the country loves rugby league and loves seeing rugby league players. It's my first time over here, and it's been absolutely fantastic, mate. We've loved every minute of it. It's such good communities. People like this, the kids are just so happy to see you and just to try and shake hands with you. It's something really special and something that'll sit with me for a long time.
You obviously come to visit the grave of the late Kato Otia. How was it like back in the Canberra Raiders?
He was such a lovely lad. He just got his head down. He's really hard working. All the boys loved him, and every day he came to training, had a big smile on his face. He was always happy to be there and just happy in life. And it's really sad that he's not here with us anymore, and really sad that we're coming here to visit his grave and not to see him personally. But I know he touched a lot of hearts down in Canberra, and a lot of people here. Obviously, he's got a lot of respect in the community as a kid and as a rugby league player as well. He's a much missed person in and around our place, and I know he's sorely missed in his village too.
Yeah, mamas. Emi go but legacy blend up. I thank you, Lord. Team so semoli kama semoli no lose thing lang. Inside lo hat lo me misa mama straight mo team mo sensa kam.
It's great, mate. It's great to see the kids, as I say, the kids and the people that maybe only get to see you maybe once in a lifetime. It's nice to see some faces. It's not often these kids get to meet many NRL players or many rugby league players, so it's great to say hello and show your face and try and get to remember a few names. And it's great to see the villages and the communities in and around Papua New Guinea. We don't often get to come to places like this, so it's a fantastic thing to do. And as I've said earlier, it'll really sit with me for a long time, just how these communities are built and how everybody just looks so happy just to see a rugby league team.
It's like something we've not seen before, because with all due respect, back in England, rugby league probably isn't as popular as other sports, so it doesn't carry the same weight. And obviously in Australia there is the lads that play in the NRL, but nothing like I've ever seen here before. We went to a school today, and the students just couldn't get enough of it. And
yeah, no, I do have a soft spot for Port Moresby. People are so friendly, they love their rugby league so much here, it's just it's a bit overwhelming, and my problem is they all think they know me. They see me on TV and they just think I'm a personal friend, so that's nice.
Congratulations to our very own, the PNG Orchids and the PNG Kumuls. Now, moving on to the Orchids, they pulled off an incredible comeback in front of a home crowd of 15,000 against the England women's side on Saturday at the Old Satch National Football Stadium. This performance comes after a 24-10 beating they received earlier at the hands of the visitors in Goroka. Going into the second and final test match, skipper Elsie Albert said they've identified areas to work on, and true enough, it was some work they did, pulling off a 2016 win. Shirley Joe and Carol Humeu, along with skipper herself, Elsie, were the hard hitters, while the likes of Lila Malabai and Uaravu made sure the backline was covered.
And they make their way upfield. Up together! They need to complete this set.
And that's how they kept the Englishwomen from recording another win. In fact, England took the lead right at the beginning, but that did not faze the home side.
Now from dummy half, Shirley Joe throwing it! She's gone!
Shirley Joe stunned the English side as she jetted home for the touchdown in the dying minute to seal the win for the Orchids.
Emily Raj, not the result you expected this afternoon, but your girls certainly did well, and it could have gone either way in the final minutes.
Yeah, real gutted with the loss there. I think we let ourselves down by not completing our sets, and we just weren't smart enough. We didn't keep hold of the ball, and credit to PNG, you know, they took their opportunities where they came, and unfortunately we missed a couple of opportunities that we should have finished, and that's the way it goes.
The winning skipper, Elsie Albert, you're a part of history today. Congratulations. What does it feel like?
I cannot explain the feeling. It's electric, and I think the crowd has won the game for us. And they've been cheering us all the way along. Most of the times we lost, but this is a victory, so we are so happy that we won the game.
It's certainly a big turnaround for the team in 1 week. What did the coach say to you in training that inspired such a big change?
What he said was we have to win the ruck and hold the ball, win the ball possession. That's how we won the game, so yeah, that's all. Okay.
We'll go for a break now. Coming up next, SPPNG Hunters announces new coach. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Sports Scene. The PNG Rugby Football League this week announced the new head coach for the SPPNG Hunters. This comes after the post was left vacant by PNG LNG Kumuls coach Michael Marum. The new coach is Mathew Church.
The announcement this week comes on the back of an independent screening process that led to his appointment.
On behalf of all our rugby league partners and stakeholders throughout the country, to introduce to you and present to Papua New Guinea the new coach of the SPPNG Hunters for the next SP Hunters for the next 2 years, Mr. Mathew Church.
Mathew Church was assistant coach for various clubs in the Queensland Inter-Super Cup prior to his appointment to the Hunters.
CV that he brings to him not only a wealth of footballing experience, but he brings to him is networking. The context is built that rugby league in PNG and the Hunters as a club and the players can tap into to not just grow the game in the country, but more so to assist the pathways that the Hunters program is actually set up for, to get our players moving into the elite program and provide that high-level elite program for domestic players to go through. So seeing Matt's credentials, we felt that he stood out head and shoulders above the rest of the applications.
The PNGRFL received 14 applications, 3 of which came from within PNG. The only applicant to come close is Lacenex Tigers coach Stanley Tepend.
I'm truly honoured to be taking over from Coach Michael Maram, who has done a fantastic job. My background, I'm from Brisbane, I'm a carpenter by trade. My footballing career at Queensland Cup level actually started on this ground in '97 against the Port Moresby Vipers, and ever since then I've had a bit of an affinity with the nation and the people of it. I've had a rich, as the chairman said, a rich background in coaching. I originally started coaching at East Tigers with their under-18s and their under-20s side. Moved on from there to work with the Melbourne Storm under-20s for 2 years. Was then head coach of their development squad for a year, and this year took up the role as assistant coach of the Sunshine Coast Falcons, who had a history-making season. Fantastic to be a part of. I've also been a part of the junior emerging origin programs for the Queensland Rugby League. I'd like to draw on all that education and development I've taken from that and bring that into the role with the Hunters.
Church will lead the PNG Premier team for 2 seasons beginning next year. The team under coach Michael Marum won the competition for the first time in 2017. The SP PNG Hunters 2019 season was below par compared to previous years. The incumbent Mathew Church believes he has big shoes to fill.
So I've got a number of coaches who are with NRL clubs, whether they're NRL head coaches or just in assistant roles. So looking to hopefully use those as a bit of an education tool for some of our staff, if I can get our staff to go over there. So I figure working in development, I'm really big on coach education. So if the more coaches I can get to, it means the more players we can get to. So I want to develop essentially a hunter's way, so that we have what we're looking for as a player, what stands out, highlighting that to our Digicel Cup coaches, and then hopefully they can look for those things or coach those things into their players. So it strengthens that next level coming through, so that it's a huge nation. So many people play rugby league. It's a conveyor belt waiting to go from there. So if we can get that right and have more PNG players playing in the NRL, it's going to be a flow-on effect from the Digicel Cup to the Hunters and then on to the Kumuls.
A 35-man train-on squad will be assembled for pre-season training next Monday.
Welcome back, you're watching Sportsy. Now I'm here at the China Table Tennis College at the Seaview International Garden in Port Moresby with the president of Table Tennis in PNG, George Shaw. So what a year it has been, 2019.
I reckon it is a very successful year for table tennis in Papua New Guinea. We should have been able to achieve better if we were prepared better. However, we should not be greedy. A silver medal for the men's is very good achievement, though according to the history, the best result is bronze medal for the team event for twice in the Pacific game. So silver is better than those previous ones, though I am very, very confident through the years to come, we should be able to achieve better. Okay, this is the letter replied from our President Xi Jinping of People's Republic of China to our player Jeffrey Roy. And recently, Jeffrey Roy, in partnership with Gasika, won the silver in Pacific game. And he wrote a letter of appreciation to our president for their support, and particularly China Table Tennis College's support. And we are so humbled to receive this reply letter from President, personally signed by himself. In last month, we also sent 4 players to be trained in Shanghai for 2 weeks. They just came back recently. And at the moment, we are preparing to send a team of 3 participating in the 2020 Olympic team event qualification game in Australia. And the game will be on 6th of December. We are intensively preparing for that. I will also request a Chinese coach to lead the team for this event. And after that, we will prepare for the hosting this Oceania Cup, which is a big event, and also together with our national championship next year in May, by the end of the next year in May. And also I'm here, take this opportunity to appeal to any potential sponsors to join us to host this important international event.
So now we understand we have some events happening in 2020. Tell us about it.
2020 will be a very challenging year. First of all, the Oceania Cup hosting is a very, very challenging issue. However, I'm very confident to host this one in a successful way. In the meantime, we are preparing to participate a bit more Oceania Tour to improve the ranking for our players. Obviously, due to the constraint of funding for the past years, we were not able to participate in those ranking system competition. However, we will put more efforts, and we hope the government can provide a bit more funding. In the meantime, we will try our best to raise more funds through the sponsorship. And take this opportunity to show our appreciation and special appreciation to those sponsors for the past few years, like Leo Enterprises, 9 Mile Plaza, and Yuan Fang, and XYZ particularly, which is the largest sponsors in table tennis, and China Harbor, and those. And I really appreciate it, and I wish all of them Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Give us some highlights or some things that we'll be expecting in 2020. Of course, the president for the new president who is not here with us, who won't be available due to commitments. But if you can give us some highlights 2020 going forward.
Yeah, the last couple of years, 2 years in particular, we've been able to put a framework together on some strategic partnerships, like working with the Australian-supported water aid program, Netball Australia. And so what we're going to be seeing now is a big program that's a regional program that's coming up soon for the entire Pacific region, but a focus on Papua New Guinea and potentially netball. So that's an exciting part. Netball Australia is going to be working with Netball Png in setting up its accreditation framework for coaches and umpires as well. So that's a big plus as well. And a few other partnerships. They're all in the pipeline now, so it's a matter of delivering that. And 2020 is going to be an exciting year. We're going to see the surge of some new exciting opportunities for netball that have never been seen before. We're going to see a restructure of how we've been running our competitions, both at the association level, and that's an exciting bit. And then introduction of a high performance program, and how does that link into playing in other international events like in Singapore or in Queensland. So those have always been part of the pipeline, and they're about to be delivered through this new strategic plan.
Well, an exciting time for netball in Papua New Guinea as we look forward to 2020 and beyond. Julian, thank you so much for being with us on the studio tonight.
Thank you.
Our next update is from Mixed Netball Png, where they also give us a brief insight into how the year turned out for them.
So tell us some of the highlights that have unfolded for this year.
Okay, well, 2019 was a good year. I suppose the success started in 2018 with the Trans-Pacific Cup, where we played Australia. But 2019 saw the association continue to grow. We're seeing a massive rate increase of participation into mixed netball through our Port Moresby competition. We had over 900 registered players this year across 45 teams in 5 divisions. But the best thing for it is our competition's providing a great avenue for men and women to play competitive netball at a very high level. So, that was good for us, and we're continuing getting massive interest in teams that want to come on board and for 2020 and come to the competition as well. We didn't have too much of a international program this year, although we did select our squads for the World Cup, which will be in Perth next year. So they're in the midst of training at the moment, which is good, and we've actually also included an under-23 men's national team to the list of teams that we're sending, which is good as well, and we got a lot of interest at the trials. We had over 180 potentials come out to trials, and we picked a squad of 90. What else happened in 2019? Grand finals, the competition exceptional across all divisions. Men certainly brought in the crowd and had the people on their feet. We had over 1,000 people watching the grand final. It was an exceptional day. And, the big highlight for us this year was being nominated and making finalists in the SP Sports Awards for International Team of the Year for the Mixed Malios, and also winning the People's Choice Awards for the SP Awards as well. Look, the biggest challenge we have is, although men's and mixed netball has been around for over 50 years, PNG was the last country in the Pacific, realistically, to actually have a dedicated association to the development of men in netball.
Now, you mentioned 2020 games. There's an international game. Tell us what else to expect in the coming year.
Okay, well, so 2020 is the World Cup in Perth. In 2018, because we played the Australians, and Australia is the most dominant country in the world, and we chose to challenge them in our first international. We did really well. We did better than what I expected. The men's team did better than what I expected. Coach, Lawrence Lahari, the coach, did really well with a group of guys that had only been playing for 2 years, going up against Australian team with 150 years playing experience between them. So, they did exceptionally well to keep the margin as low as they did. We were seriously undersized. The Australian team was massive, but the boys did exceptionally well. At the Trans-Pacific Cup, though, it was the mix that really surprised everybody. The series itself with Australia was exceptionally close. In the end, Australia took the series because of experience at internationals, and they didn't have the amount of nerves that the PNG team did, but the mixed team came out on the last day and made PNG sporting history by beating Australia, and they were the first sports team from PNG ever to beat an Australian team. So because of that success, the Australians invited us to the World Cup. The World Cup is usually only for teams that have proven themselves internationally. So we got invited to the World Cup in 2020 in Perth, and we're looking forward to that challenge, actually, because you're looking at the moment there's 16 countries coming to the World Cup, which is really good. A lot of Pacific countries.
What are the preparations like, especially the build-up towards this 2020? Are we collecting players just around Port Moresby, or are we? Is this you're getting players from all around Papua New Guinea?
We'll try and do that. The problem we have at the moment, and we've just achieved our strategic plan, 5-year strategic plan, and we're in the midst of developing our next 5-year strategic plan. Unfortunately, Port Moresby is where the competition is, and the level of play in Port Moresby is, just heads above what everybody else does, because we've got the focus on making it, from a development point of view, making it a strong competition. We do have players from Alatau, which is really good, but Goroka Netball Association and Motukoita West Netball Association implemented mix this year, which is really good. Good to see. They see the benefits of it. And what we need to do is we need to grow the sport throughout the country to other regions, and then give opportunities to these teams from other other locations, the opportunities to go head-to-head with guys in Port Moresby. The whole thing is still in the initial phase. I mean, we're only 4 years old, so it's still initially. We've got plans to grow the sport nationally. We've got plans for a school-based mixed competition and development throughout the country. We've got plans for a national championship. We've got plans for an elite Super League competition for the elite men and women around the country in mixed and men. And this is all in our strategic plan over the next 5 years.
Congratulations on those achievements for this year. And thank you for being part of us on the show all the way from Goroka, Mr. Parker.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, when we come back after the break, we look at Cricket PNG Year in Review.
Yeah, look, it's great to see Cricket PNG moving into the outer regions, especially having been already existing in the southern region of Papua New Guinea. It's good to see that they're moving into the highlands. In actual fact, they've done their development program, Pikinini cricket and all of those. They've reached the highlands, but they have never actually had an actual setup. So it's good to see that now they'll be moving there, bringing the offices there as well. So that's great to see. Now, for activities or even sporting events coming up this weekend, we have triathlon that's happening here in Port Moresby down at Ella Beach. If you're doing nothing over the weekend, do head down there on Saturday and check out this water sport. It's been a while since we last had any form of water sport happening. The last one was, I think, Tripix race and Vanagi race. So now we have triathlon happening this weekend. Apart from that, also here in Port Moresby, we have a PSSA happening at Bicini Grounds. We have the Eastern Papua Cup also happening. So mostly off-season football happening around Port Moresby. For you outside centres, you can always go down to your nearest sporting location or sporting venue and show support for any of your local teams or competition. Now, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show, but if you would like to be featured on Sportscene, or if you know of an amazing sporting story or any event that you would like us to cover, you can always email us on sports@emtv.com.pg, leave your details and, of course, the event that's happening, and we will surely get in touch with you.
Or you can message us on our Facebook page or call us on 312-9200.
Or if you're in Port Moresby, you can always stop by at Garden City Level 2, that's here at 4 Mile Boroko, and ask for any one of us from the sporting team, and we will be more than happy to assist you. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Dineros Raiko.
And I'm Kilawani.
Good night.
Good night.